my name is Caitlin, and today's topic of discussion is the setup checklist. So you've installed Veculim, you've registered Veculim depending on whatever level you wanted, or then simply the light version, which is what we're going to be using here. And the next step that you need to do now is the setup checklist. So that's the pop-up that appears in your Veculim program. So depending on which level you've got, you might see some extra buttons in here. As I said before, we are in the light version here, so we've only got 5 buttons here. Okay, so let's click on the financial defaults button. This is where your bank details are specified. If you would like your bank details to be depending on invoices and all that, you need to obviously specify what those details are. Okay, so let's just put in ABC Bank, and we're going to put in the branch, the account number, and then the bank code. Okay, the next section that you have here is whether you want to show the agreed hours on a job card. What this basically does is, if you've quoted 5 hours for a job and you've got this ticked, it'll actually print that there are 5 hours, of strip and assembly or of spray painting. It'll print those 5 hours on that job card. If you do not select this, it'll simply show a yes, which means that that work needs to be done. So it depends on how you would prefer to see the information, whether you actually want to show your workers how many hours you have quoted for that job. So you can just select then whichever you prefer then. Okay, so once you've got that, you can just click on OK. We need to then move on over to the next step, which is our quotes defaults. Once you've actually completed that step, you can also then tick it to say that you have completed that, and then move on over to the next one. So let's go to quote details. This is where you specify what the default values would be for when you are quoting. Obviously you can then change these amounts when you creating that quote, but this would be your general rate that you would. It just makes it slightly easier that you don't have to keep changing that quote every time. Okay, so let's just say your panel beating rate, let's leave that at 150. Let's just change this to let's say 230. Oops, slightly too much. There you go. I don't think the guys are going to be very happy being charged that much. So we've got 230, and for argument's sake, let's just make this 180. Okay, so we've got that. You can also set then your default markup values, the percentages here, what you need to mark that up by, and also if there should be a default sundries value applied to each quote. If not, you can just change that to 0% there. There's also a disclaimer that you can just read through there and edit if you need to. This would obviously be the one that would appear on your quote, at the bottom of your quote. If there's anything that you would obviously like to change here, please go ahead and do that. And obviously also just edit the certification at the bottom here, or you can actually just clear that out completely if you don't want any of that. Okay, so once we've got that, we click on OK. Check the little box that we are done with that step, and we move on over to the accounting year. So this would be then generally how your financial year would run. You would specify that. If you are happy with the year start and end that is there, and the year name, you can just click on OK. Otherwise, you can obviously go and select, let's say it's from the 1st of January for argument's sake. You can go and specify that date. I'm happy with the 1st of March to the 28th of Feb, and I'm going to name this as 2015 because that's when my year is going to end off there. So I'm happy with those things. Let's click on OK. It'll then generate the calendar that's all the information that it needs there, and then it asks you, would you like to make December the current month? So now depending obviously on what month you are, it'll pop up slightly different there. If you're happy with that selection, you can click on yes, and it'll then close off all the other months that are before December. Okay, so you can change that. If you are happy with the accounting months again, once again just verify the information that is here. You will see that each month has got a month start and a month end there. Obviously only months that are opened, you can actually go and change those in terms of the month end date. Once it's been closed off, that date is what it is there. And also just to take note here that this is the first month of the 2015 year. It doesn't necessarily mean this is January, as you'll see we've got a March there. So this is the first month of the financial year, the second month, third month, and so on and so forth. So in theory then, we are in the 10th month, although we actually in the 12th month of the year, in December. we are in the 10th month of the financial year there. Okay, so once you're happy with all that information, simply click on OK, and all those accounting months and the year and everything has been configured as needed there. Last step that you can do here, it's optional, you don't have to do this, but it's obviously to put in your company logos. And this would be what would appear on your quotes and invoices, the images that you've got here. Now I'm pretty sure that you would want to change this, you would want this to appear on your quotes there. So you can go and click on the lookup button and then go and specify wherever that your logo is, and select those files. And if there's any other files that you would like to select here, SASO, anything like that, you can go and select those logos there. Okay, so once you're happy with those logos, click on OK, and your setup checklist is done. Quite easy for that. You can see at the bottom you've completed all the required steps. So this is like, if I can say, the minimum things that needs to be set, or some of the more background things that need to be set up there. Once you've actually done the setup checklist, you can now start populating Veculim, and that we'll obviously start discussing in the future videos. So registering Veculim, installing Veculim, setting up the checklist, all pretty easy up to this point. So we're going to start with exciting stuff for the next time in terms of capturing all the data. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.